The Bride of Formaldehyde by Coral Bestman. At the blink of the bridging beginning, before turtles wore girdles and knew how to hide, we were all pint-sized paddlers with well-preserved pride, submerged by the swashbuckling seas of formaldehyde. We respirated from green gills punctured on our gams aglow, breathing in unison with the floundering krill, bobbing to the beat of the oxidized undertow. The cities were silent and a blur through the hummus haze, weeping with wry wanderers with pale pupils too desiccated to gaze. The days were as dry as a dragon's tongue, and the nights were as shy as shepherd's stew, and we were slaves to the reeking waters that left us pungent and stale like pralines half a chew. But one underivative evening, as the seaweed sun began to set like a curtsying rose, a dreamy-eyed gnat emerged from the ether, eyes fixated on a damsel, with wings in the position to propose. The young maiden was caught off guard, her flaccid locks tiptoeing into the blanched abyss of the sinister sea. "Will you marry me?" the fly asked optimistically, clutching the ruby ring like a dictator to his decree. The lady didn't think twice before she trampled his dreams, for she already had a soulmate with aquatic laces of love untied, and as the soul-crushed gnat erupted with a tirade of tears, the woman whispered, "Never meddle with the bride of formaldehyde." The lassie pranced off through the lukewarm waters, mingling with the waves like she belonged to its heart, pirouetting and pecking the sea with her unlorn lips, with love no gnat could tear apart. The measly fly was far too small to intervene with a bond so impenetrable and strong, so enraged by the setback he whistled for the wister, a creature who could have helped him all along. The kelp-skinned scrounger with the scuttling tongue was summoned at last, his oyster eyes pearled with purple pupils, who, as the twanging twinge of twilight tampered into darkness, lost sight of all his scruples. The gnat and the wister connived all night, never lazing to blink, and by the dawn of morning's twister their plan was composed like the symphony of the skink. Willfully whistling, the devious duo dallied towards the surface of earth's choppy lips, 7 slick thick straws in their wings and palms, and stealthy swagger in their hips. Together they slurped, inch by inch, until their bellies were bloated with brackish pride, one sure sip at a time, until they gulped the entire ocean of formaldehyde. The inhabitants flopped like fish on dry land, their gills gasping for the sea, but lovelorn lungs become nothing but lackluster lies when you bray your final plea. The bride of formaldehyde collapsed on her knees, her love ostracized in mid-bloom, screeching with her final breath, "How could you gulp my groom?" The gnat and wister clearly didn't think their plan through, for they suffocated and bloat along with their suffering pack. Gasping and gagging to the dry land's discordance, the Saharan sun sizzling like a chiropractor cracking each sriracha-spined back. But as they drowned in the arid breeze, their evaporating hearts thumping their final beat, hope began pelting down on their gills in the form of rain's revering retreat. The droplets filled their gills with moisture's pills, sealing the flaps so they could breathe real air, recollecting their consciences and adapting to the new normal, like saluting soldiers of solitaire. But as the paddlers became soil strutters and settled down, there was one thing still amiss. The bride of formaldehyde was now an incensed widow, and was avenging out of the groomless abyss. No gnat can noose away my love, no wister can whittle away my joy mid-stride, and certainly no straw can slurp the soul of my groom of formaldehyde. The wister and gnat, once as brittle as hay, sighed like ploppers at a matinee. They exchanged sorry glances like apologetic pigs in sties, and soon gave in to a compromise. The widow and her enemies agreed that earth would remain dry like a shingled shin, with the exception of swamps, lakes, rivers, pools, and the occasional ocean. The creatures shook on it, wing and palm, and blew formaldehyde chunks until salinated seas sprung from the sand, and the reunited bride dove into her soulmate, their relationship ever more grand. Time bled on like a burglar's brine, the bride still lurking in the undertow, renewing her vows with a tide now and then, her passion still aglow. Is time merely a mirage, a mere marmalade montage of formaldehyde memories slurped away by the gnat and kelp of hindering age? Quill-lassoed flashbacks of ink-blotted youth, decrepit by the papyrus page? The loquacious lover leers with lackluster eyes at the taken, shaken, and fried. Beware of the brazed blue and bewildered past of the bride of formaldehyde.